getting set for the Labor Day Classic. Police are investigating the University of Regina's Students' Union. And Saskatoon is experiencing another spike in overdoses.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Navigating Regina's roads were a little more difficult today as hundreds of out-of-town drivers from Saskatchewan and Manitoba clogged the streets in the city, of course, for the Labor Day Classic. And this year's edition is expected to be the biggest since moving to the new stadium. With more, Donovan Mace joins us live outside Mosaic Stadium tonight. Donovan?
Yeah, if the roads were hard to navigate today, just imagine Mosaic Stadium on Sunday. We got a little bit of a taste of that 2 weeks ago when Hamilton visited in front of a sold-out crowd then. But, man, riders are expecting that and then some this weekend when Winnipeg makes their way to Mosaic to face off against the Roughriders. So got a chance to talk to Roughrider Game Day staff today about how they're preparing for the additional fans, as well as business leaders in the city about how this game makes a big impact across the city.
It's a game that really needs no setup at all. A sold-out Mosaic Stadium in Regina.
While the hype for Labor Day takes care of itself, planning for it is a different story.
I don't know if we're ever not planning Labor Day. It's really kind of an important signpost on the season. So, yeah, lots goes into it.
With a big crowd expected come Sunday, the Rider organization is making sure they are ready with additional buses for transit to extra ticket scanners and security personnel at the gates.
Very similar to what we were able to do a couple of weeks ago, right? So we've got our full complement, kind of the full show is on, and we're looking forward to putting on a big game.
When this stadium's filled and rocking, so is business.
And with 33,000 plus in the stands this weekend, many of them traveling in, the economic spin-off of the game is even greater.
35,000 people in Mosaic Stadium. The results are significant to our business community, and that's more people. It's more money in our staff's pockets that are working in the hospitality business, and it just flows through our entire city.
But there are also some challenges with getting that many people into Mosaic.
There will be some lineups, right? It's going to take a little slow, be a little slower, take a little longer, but we're going to try to move people through as quickly as we possibly can.
The team on the field ready to give fans a show, but head coach Corey Mace says something has been missing.
I have yet to see watermelons on people's heads. I don't know what happened about that. Like, that was a thing. I remember that. So I'm expecting to see that. I want to see watermelons. I want them sold out in the whole province.
Now, while the gates open for 2 hours before kickoff, the Riders are highly encouraging all fans to arrive to the stadium extra early, even earlier than you would for a normal game day due to that expected capacity crowd. They're also adding, because of the forecasted temperatures at 30 degrees, to drink plenty of water that day. It gets a lot hotter in the stadium than it would maybe when you're outside of the stadium. At least it feels warmer in there. And then at the same time, if you do decide to indulge in a couple adult beverages, to please find a safe ride home. Kickoff Lee on Sunday, 5 p.m. against the Blue Bombers. Going to be a good one.
All right, thank you, Donovan. Donovan Mace reporting live for us tonight. The ongoing saga with the University of Regina Students' Union continued today. The organization might be in a bit of some hot water. Jacob Carr explains why.
The University of Regina Students' Union is now under investigation for possible misappropriation of funds, according to Regina Police. For nearly a year, URSU has been embroiled in controversy. Issues started coming to light in December when the Students' Union threatened to pull funding from the U of R Women's Center and UR Pride. Since then, multiple legal battles have ensued. The most recent filed in April, an injunction by URSU against the university for withholding fees and terminating their fee collection agreement. On July 30th, that injunction was dismissed by a judge at Court of King's Bench due in part to URSU's recent track record, including financial concerns. According to court documents, the university's security service received confidential information alleging systemic misappropriation of funds and other illegal activity involving URSU. A new financial review of URSU was conducted in April, and the university has forwarded this information to law enforcement officials. Now, those financial concerns have the organization under investigation.
We need to know what the allegations are, the accusations are, because as far as we know, we have not done anything wrong. We get audited every year as well. We have all these processes in place. So if their all claim is the deficit happens in most of the organizations. So deficit is not indication of fraud.
URSU was also served an eviction notice in mid-August by the U of R. Staff instructed to vacate the spaces they occupy on campus. The union is fighting this decision, arguing that its dissolution can only occur through a vote by membership, which has not happened. RPS told CTV News that the investigation into URSU is ongoing and that no further details can be provided at this time. URSU says they have not been in contact with police yet, but are more than happy to cooperate with the investigation. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
A man has been charged with stealing from the Esterhazy Minor Hockey Association. According to the association's publicly available meeting minutes, an individual stole about $43,000 through e-transfer and $3,000 cash from the organization. After an investigation, RCMP did charge an adult male, Corey Smith, with one count of theft over $5,000. Smith recently was removed as the Esterhazy Minor Hockey Association's treasurer. He has paid back $20,000, allowing the league to pay their outstanding fees and continue operations. The man was released and is scheduled to appear in court in December. RCMP have charged a third person in connection to a video that surfaced online showing a group of people driving with guns in Duck Lake. Police say they were told about the video earlier this month that showed the group with guns while in a vehicle. A 23-year-old man and 37-year-old woman were previously charged with careless use of a firearm. Now, a 21-year-old Prince Albert man is facing a charge of unauthorized possession of a firearm and one count of unauthorized possession of a firearm in a motor vehicle. The two guns seen in the video have been taken by police. Well, prairie harm reduction in Saskatoon is sounding the alarm after a recent spike in drug overdoses in that city. Last week, the Saskatoon Fire Department says they responded to dozens of overdose calls. CTV's Stacey Hine has the latest.
A spike in overdoses is causing heavy hearts at Prairie Harm Reduction.
Everybody's just talking about everyone we lost, trying to figure out when funerals are, when services are, if we've found family members.
Earlier this month, the supervised drug consumption site said numbers from the Saskatchewan Coroner Service show more than 200 confirmed and suspected overdose deaths in the province this year. It says 20 people who have used its services are among those who have fatally overdosed, and the number continues to climb. The Saskatoon Fire Department has responded to 84 suspected overdoses since August 17th.
It's not uncommon. We'll see a spike and then it'll go down. But we've kind of seen that consistent number where we're getting 9 to 12 overdoses in a 24-hour period since the 17th. So, we start asking why.
The Ministry of Health is now warning of a dangerous mix of drugs making its way through Saskatoon. In at least one case, the drugs were a greenish-blue crystal. Prairie Harm Reduction confirmed carfentanil in one sample tested last week. It's a drug typically used to sedate elephants and other large animals. The province says it may be linked to increases in overdoses and multiple reported fatalities.
Fentanyl is already so strong that, naloxone really has to work hard to reverse it. And when we look at carfentanil, it has to work even harder.
Saskatoon police say they are aware of carfentanil trafficking in the city, and their drug unit continues its efforts to target drug traffickers, but says investigations are lengthy and complex. Meanwhile, Prairie Harm Reduction is holding a vigil at Station 20 West on Sunday to remember those who died of drug overdoses. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Much of Saskatchewan is expected to hit temperatures in the 30s this long weekend, with some communities remaining under a heat warning in the northern part of the province. And as Jasmine Pelche tells us, that isn't bothering visitors to Waskesiu, who are enjoying this summer sizzle.
Out at Waskesiu Lake, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and the heat warning remains in place.
It's pretty nice out, though. The wind isn't too strong.
The warning is active for Prince Albert National Park and much of the north and central parts of Saskatchewan. Visitors at Waskesiu aren't concerned, saying it's about time for some good summer weather.
It seems like we finally had a summer. This week has been incredible. We're down from Calgary, Alberta, and the weather was just as crummy as it was here in Saskatchewan pretty much all season. So we don't have smoke, we don't have rain.
We've had a very rough summer with the smoke and the lack of people attending the park because of that and the fear of the smoke. The heat, at least you can be here under an umbrella, you can be in the water, you can be doing a number of different events here at the park, so I think it's fantastic.
Environment Canada's hourly data says Waskesiu Lake saw a high of 31 Friday afternoon. The late August burst of hot weather is expected to continue tomorrow in the park with a high of 32 degrees.
The smoke and the pre-evacuation alert definitely had a negative impact on the entire town site. So to have this great weather at the end of the season here is fantastic.
Chris Astle, owner of Twin Pine Cinema, says this weather is a pleasant change.
The first couple days on a really nice, weather stretch, it'll be really, really slow in the theater. But by the third or the fourth day, people will start coming in with, maybe a little bit redder noses and redder shoulders, ready to be out of the sun.
The intense heat is expected to ease up on Sunday with a predicted high of 27. And businesses hope to make the most of this summer's final long weekend. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Waskesiu.
The severe storm that rolled through central Saskatchewan last week did leave a trail of damage. The Northern Tornadoes Project surveyed damage from the August 20th storm, confirming microbursts, a tornado, a gustnado. The NDP says it developed near North Battleford around 5:30 p.m., causing significant wind and hail damage as it passed the city of Saskatoon. 4 separate wind events happened as a result: an EF1 microburst near Menin, an EF1 downburst near Grenfell, an EF0 tornado near Buffer Lake, and a short-lived gustnado near Aberdeen. Some farm animals were reportedly killed near Grunthal, and grain bins, trees, buildings were damaged. What's a gustnado?
Strong winds.
Really strong winds.
Wind gusts, yeah, very strong winds. Something you and I and everyone else doesn't have to worry about heading into this long weekend, Lee. We're not going to see very strong winds for this long weekend, at least. We could see the winds pick up later on down the road, but in terms of the next few days, at least, we're going to continue to see above seasonal temperatures. A little bit of that cloud cover rolling in. You can see on the radar satellite behind me that rain in the southwest starting to move a little bit more into parts of south central Saskatchewan around the Moose Jaw area. And we're still seeing a little bit more of the extensions to those excessive heat warnings in parts of northern Saskatchewan, including areas like Melfort and Prince Albert now. But for much of southern Saskatchewan, we're still seeing above seasonal temperatures. And as we head into this weekend, like I said, that'll continue. The average is about 23 degrees. We did get up to 29, felt more like 31 degrees. And that's basically the same story as we head into tomorrow. But I'll have all the details, including more about that rain, in your full forecast. Lee?
Thank you, Sabine. A new school year is right around the corner for students across the province, and the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation is looking forward to seeing the impact of additional supports for classroom complexity.
It's not going to solve everything, but it is going to mean that there will be 500 board teachers entering schools this year to be able to provide more supports for our kids. And I know that's what we all want to see. So it's an exciting time of year, and we're all looking forward to getting back into schools with students starting next week.
Majority of Saskatchewan students go back Tuesday. It comes after another round of reminders from police forces to not show too much information in any of your back-to-school posts on social media, and for drivers to be extra careful in school zones. Meanwhile, the NDP was talking affordability for school families today.
In 2017, the Sask Party hiked that provincial sales tax from 5% to 6%, and they expanded it to cover children's clothing, groceries, and countless other items. That tax on groceries applies to many of the staples that are involved in a good school lunch or quick dinner before activity lunches. Maybe that tax might be easier to swallow if at least we knew it was going towards funding education better.
The NDP says it's time to give parents and grandparents a break so kids heading back to school can have what they need to succeed. In a statement, the Sask Party says PST revenues help fund services in healthcare, education, and social services, as well as programs such as municipal revenue sharing and infrastructure investments that communities rely on, adding, it's disappointing the NDP continues to be dishonest about PST on groceries, as they know basic grocery items are exempt from PST. The Minister of Advanced Education says one of his social media accounts was hacked. Ken Cheveldayoff posted on his Facebook account yesterday saying his ex, his former Twitter account, was taken over and inappropriate content was shared. The account was sending out pornographic content, and he says once he became aware of the hack, he immediately contacted X to have the content removed. The Premier is expressing his condolences after the passing of a former rural leader in Saskatchewan. Sinclair Harrison, the president of the Saskatchewan Association of Rural Municipalities for 8 years and Reeve of the RM of Moosomin for more than 3 decades. Premier Scott Moe called him a prominent voice for rural Saskatchewan. He unfortunately passed away Thursday in Regina. A vigil was held last night in Victoria Park for Rochelle Bear, a young Regina woman who went missing in 2013, later determined to be the victim of a homicide. Her mother, Michelle Bear, supporters gathered in honor of her daughter and put out a call for answers in locating the remains. In June, Bear completed a hunger fast in front of the city landfill, as that is where she was told her daughter's remains could be. Her hunger strike lasted about 10 days.
We haven't had any updates lately. I am still working with the Regina City Police. I am just at a standstill right now at the moment. I am kind of asking the question to them that if they have no evidence to my daughter being in a landfill, why did they tell me that?
Bear says she is grateful for the support of the community and will renew calls to search for her daughter's remains. And a record number of Dutch elm disease cases is prompting the city of Saskatoon to declare an ecological emergency. The city has confirmed 12 cases of Dutch elm disease, more than last year's record. Another 7 trees showing signs and are being destroyed as a precaution. The Parks Department says cases are widespread and not concentrated in any particular neighborhood. Administration says storing elm wood or burning it for any reason threatens Saskatoon's canopy and roughly 1/4 of all trees in the city. Altogether, 37 trees worth roughly $500,000 are being removed to try and prevent further spread.
Those trees have a value of approximately $500,000. With each tree removal being about $2,000 on average, it's a very expensive problem that is only going to get more difficult and expensive to manage if it continues to spread.
The city says they have found and destroyed nearly 10,000 kilograms of stored elm wood in people's backyards. Still ahead, Canada's economy is cracking under the shadow of tariffs. And a day of mourning in Kyiv after a major assault by Russia on Thursday. Some troubling economic news for Canada. New numbers show a key measure of the country's economic health isn't looking as healthy as economists had hoped. CTV's Camille Karamali has the details.
After months of being assaulted by U.S. tariffs and battered by the ongoing trade war, Canada now showing major cracks in the armor.
This is not a good picture for Canada and what's happening here.
Canada's economy contracted in the second quarter, much more than expected, shrinking by 1.6% on an annualized basis. It's the first quarterly contraction in nearly 2 years and the steepest decline since the pandemic.
Essentially, the big change was in the first quarter, we had a rush to get exports out into the U.S. as quickly as possible. In the second quarter, that all came to a halt as some of these tariffs started to take effect.
U.S. President Donald Trump ramped up tariffs against Canada and the world that quarter, targeting steel, aluminum, and autos. While April, May, and June then saw a sharp drop-off in business investment by roughly 10%.
The depth of decline that we're seeing in the manufacturing sector is something that we haven't seen in many years. And so it is a cause for concern.
Vehicle exports plummeting nearly 25%, industrial machinery exports and travel services also falling drastically. In fact, Canada saw an unprecedented trade deficit in the second quarter, with a big gap between its minimal exports versus its massive amount of imports. The difference between the two, a whopping $19.6 billion in goods and services.
Well, guess what's happening in the middle of a trade war with the U.S.? We're exporting substantially less
stuff to our major trade partner.
All of it raising fears of a recession, which economists say Canada would be in if the GDP sees another decline in the third quarter of this year.
We need to be a little bit more cautious, and that caution, of course, feeds into the economy.
The latest GDP figures putting a sharper focus on the Bank of Canada and whether it'll make an interest rate cut in mid-September. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Mark Carney has launched the new Major Projects Office, which will serve as a single point of contact to get nation-building projects built faster. The Major Projects Office will be headquartered in Calgary and has offices in other major Canadian cities. Carney has appointed Don Farrell, the board chair of the Trans Mountain Corporation, to serve as the office's CEO. The MPO will streamline and accelerate regulatory approval processes and coordinate the financing of projects as needed. The office will oversee those fast-tracked approvals with guidance from public servants and First Nations representatives. The government will announce the first set of nation-building projects in the coming weeks. A near century-long duty exemption used by small businesses in Canada and around the world to ship low-cost items to the U.S. has ended today. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has more on the consequences.
In small businesses across the country, there is an unfortunate new reality.
I know that I'm going to see a decline in sales to the States.
Cal Green's Ottawa-based streetwear brand Raised by Wolves is no exception.
So we've produced the apparel, they've done the shoes, and then
At least a quarter of his business comes through direct sale to American consumers or wholesalers. His product no longer exempt from duties when shipped south of the border, forcing him to make a difficult decision.
The duties, the tariffs, the brokerage fees, and the shipping is going to be included in the price for U.S. customers to be transparent. That's really all I can do at this point. As a small business, I can't afford to eat those costs.
Some of his products could still be exempt if he can prove they're CUSMA compliant, but like for thousands of other businesses, that will require more time and effort, which experts say won't always make sense.
If they want to go into the process of making sure that their goods are CUSMA compliant, that may not be worth the cost for many businesses.
It's a huge nightmare. Has been a really steep learning curve.
Last year, almost 1.4 billion packages entered America duty-free. Now, the new fees will vary based on a variety of factors, including the country of origin. But some businesses say they'll avoid it altogether.
To avoid confusion and conflicts with customers, I just suspended U.S. shipping for now.
Others hopeful to keep at least some of their longtime American customers.
I don't think there's so much anyone can do about it at this point, so I just want to keep moving forward and do the best I can.
At least 25 countries have opted to suspend U.S. shipping, citing a lack of clarity around enforcement. Canada Post says it'll work with a third party to collect and send the duties directly to U.S. Customs. Jeremy Sharon, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada and India have named seasoned diplomats as their new high commissioners 10 months after expelling each other's top envoys. Christopher Guter will be Canada's new High Commissioner in India, while India says it will assign Dinesh Patnaik to Ottawa shortly. Each brings 35 years of experience as a diplomat to the table. Both countries agreed to restore their top diplomats in June as they gradually soothe diplomatic tensions over transnational repression and Sikh separatism. A major priority for Canada is getting its full complement of staff established in India. In the Northwest Territories, the community of Wati has been ordered to evacuate as a wildfire rages close by. Residents are being ordered to flee the area immediately as the territory's #1 priority fire gets too close. Reception centers for evacuees are being set up at the nearest community and in the capital of Yellowknife. Evacuees must register at Wati's Cultural Center. Concerns today about the well-being of RCMP officers. A new report shows the number of Mounties on long-term sick leave has surged by 184% over the last 15 years. The data comes from the RCMP Management Advisory Board. It found that from January 2010 to January 2025, the rates of members on extended leave jumped from 28.5 per 1,000 officers to 91%. Or 91 per 1,000 officers. At the beginning of this year, 7% of the force was on leave due to illness, injury, or disability lasting more than 30 consecutive days. The report estimates the cost of having 7% of members off duty is roughly $58 million. Authorities in Kyiv declared Friday an official day of mourning after a Russian missile and drone strike killed 23 people. Flags were flown at half-staff while all entertainment events were canceled. The Russian attack used close to 600 drones and sent more than 30 missiles overnight, Wednesday to Thursday, including strikes that hit downtown Kyiv. The attack further complicates efforts for a peace agreement between the two countries. Today marks the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, one of the deadliest and costliest hurricanes to ever hit the United States. Katrina battered the Gulf Coast with 225-kilometer-per-hour winds and submerged entire neighborhoods in New Orleans when levees failed and left 80% of the city flooded with waters up to 6 meters deep. The death toll was more than 1,800. The cost of the storm damage was estimated at $125 billion. And dramatic images coming out of the Italian island of Sicily this morning after Mount Etna erupted, providing a breathtaking natural show. Drone footage captured streams of glowing orange lava oozing down the slopes. The eruption forced officials to close off sections of the landmark to visitors. Areas above 2,500 meters were put off limits after the automatic alert system notified increased volcanic activity. Etna is the largest active volcano in Europe. Coming up, we head to Calgary, where a couple has turned a horse trailer into a performance stage.
Heading into this long weekend and then heading into your first week of September. Believe it or not, a sunny day for part of it in Regina. Did see a little bit of that cloud cover and starting to see a little bit more due to that system that's coming in from the southwest. And I'll show you that in a second. But we did warm up to about 29 degrees late this afternoon, very close to the 30-degree mark. Felt like 31. Currently, we're sitting at 28 degrees with the winds just over 10 kilometers an hour. So we do have these excessive heat warnings in areas including Prince Albert, Melfort. Could see humidex values anywhere between 34 to 37 degrees over the next few days heading into Monday as well. And then further north, areas like Isla Crosse, La Ronge, Pelican Narrows seeing daytime highs around the 34-degree mark. Obviously very warm for further up north, and then their lows are anywhere between 10 to 20 degrees. So not much relief heading into the evenings. But when we take a look at what's happening in southern Saskatchewan, we have a system here in the southwest, primarily staying in that area. But we are starting to see a little bit more of that moving in and around to the Moose Jaw area, and then we're also seeing effects of that cloud cover from that system as well. So what are we looking at when it comes to rainfall? Well, I'll show you as we head into this evening and into tomorrow. A lot of that rain is expected to settle into the Swift Current area. So as this system continues to make its way through and starts kind of heading more so northwest as the evening progresses and as we head into tomorrow morning, once this system is cleared out by late Saturday afternoon, late tomorrow afternoon, we're seeing areas like Maple Creek, Kindersley could see up to about 5 millimeters of rain. Even Assiniboia, probably about 1 to 3 millimeters. Swift Current, as of right now, looks like it could see anywhere between 15 to 20 millimeters of rain once all is said and done with this system clearing out. But once that clears out, we are back into mostly clear conditions for the rest of the long weekend until we get into Sunday late afternoon with just around the Estevan area, southeast corner there, a little bit of scattered precipitation. And then we will continue to see just little pop-ups, but around the Saskatoon area Sunday evening, a slight chance of some storm cells coming through. Of course, with this very high heat that we are seeing come through comes the opportunity or chance for these storms to develop. So something to keep in mind. But for most of the weekend and most of the province, southern half anyway, we are seeing clear conditions and temperatures still within the 30-degree range. Like La Loche tomorrow, 32 mainly sunny, 31 for Prince Albert and La Ronge, 24 and cloudy for Lloydminster tomorrow. Seeing a little bit of the effects of that system that's coming in from the southwest. North Battleford, 27 and cloudy tomorrow. Saskatoon, 31 and a mix of sun and cloud. Yorkton, 32 and sunshine there. 25 for Maple Creek tonight, seeing rain along with Swift Current rain tonight. 24 and cloudy tomorrow. And then Moose Jaw, Rain tonight, but tomorrow 31 degrees and a mix of sun and cloud. Over in the southeast, 31 degrees for Weyburn, 30 for Estevan, 28 for Assiniboia, all seeing mostly sunny conditions. Tomorrow for Regina, 30 degrees and sunshine expected throughout the day. Tonight, not really cooling down, 15 degrees with a little bit of that cloud cover. Now, we'll get to your 7-day forecast in a second, but for those wanting to know what you can expect for the game day on Sunday, kickoff is at 5 p.m. at Mosaic Stadium for the Labor Day Classic. 29 is the expected daytime high, feeling like 31. That's going to continue as we head into the second quarter. By the second half, though, 27 degrees, feeling like 29 degrees, and the wind's actually not too bad either. Southerly winds up to about 20 kilometers an hour. So a very warm night for football. But here's a look at your next 7 days as well. 30 degrees tomorrow, 30 on Sunday, mainly sunny. By Monday, 29 and sunshine, and then we see a little bit of a cool down. Tuesday, Wednesday, 20 degrees is the expected daytime high. A little bit of cloud cover, but still mostly sunny conditions. And by Thursday, we are back just slightly above that seasonal temperature. 24 on Thursday, and by Friday, 25 and a mix of sun and clouds. So a couple days after the long weekend, we could see a little bit of a cool down, if you'll call 20 degrees a cool down. But this weekend is going to be hot.
Going to be a nice, warm, long weekend. It's nice to have long weekends that are like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to end the summer and head back
move
to
into
reality.
fall, which is Sabine's favorite season. Yeah.
I was saying head back to reality for school and regular scheduled stuff.
Thanks, Sabine.
Yeah.
A Calgary couple's country music dreams are big, but their stage is small. They've created something called the Littlest Honky Tonk. It's a converted horse trailer that now serves as a mobile music venue. Stephanie Thomas shows us.
Post Malone and his band crammed into the Littlest Honky Tonk, a converted horse trailer towed from Calgary down to floor level at the Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah. Posty is on the road for his country album F1 Trillion Stadium Tour, but he wanted to strum on this little stage.
His manager saw one of our videos organically, which is the best way that we could get out.
Boots and Laura Graham recently started a video series recording local and international country musicians in the Littlest Honky Tonk. In June, Post Malone recorded 2 videos celebrating country western lifestyle.
He was dragging calves at a branding the day before, like working cowboy stuff. And he has platinum teeth and face tattoos and a rap career, so I was not expecting that. It was completely out of left field for me.
The couple began refurbishing a horse trailer in 2021, over time adding more music memorabilia. Now, it's like a mini museum.
It's like stuff we're interested in and have always been interested in, so it's like country music stuff. As people know what we're doing, they kind of want to be a little part of the project as well.
The stories from this tiny set are almost as precious as the items on its walls.
Post Malone stood between these horns, or Corb Lund was a little bit too tall, so he had to crouch down in here. And
they hope to one day host other icons of country music and maybe take the trailer down to Nashville.
Sky's the limit. Dolly Parton. Here we come.
Stephanie Thomas, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, Riders receiver Mario Alford is ready to give special team tacklers a tough time again.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
After missing the last 5 games with a hip injury, Mario Alford is set to return to the Riders lineup just in time for the Labor Day Classic.
Alford crosses the 20 to the 30 to the 40. He's got something to the 50. Come on races. No one's going to touch him. No flags down. Lock it off.
Alford having a bit of a resurgence this season, averaging 30.9 yards per kickoff return, the second best in the CFL, along with that game-winning touchdown versus Toronto. This is Alford's 4th Labor Day Classic as a Rider against an opponent he says is always tough to play against.
Man, they're disciplined. They're a disciplined team. Like Coach just said, they lead the league in no penalty. You know, penalty for pre-snap penalty. They don't have them much, and they just do everything the right way. So we're gonna have to capitalize off their mistakes for sure.
Alford will likely replace Dre McCray in the lineup, who filled in for Mario when he was injured.
For the
options to his right. That's where he's going to throw. He's looking to the end zone. Joe goes up and he's got it. Unreal stuff from
Joe spoke to the media today, calling his experience with the Indianapolis Colts a dream come true. As soon as he was waived, he was ready to come back to Saskatchewan, a place the Alberta product now calls home.
Come on, man. Home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is, man. No, it's the people. It's the people. It's definitely the people. It's the first team that took a chance on me, 7th round pick. But at the end of the day, like I feel like I owe this organization and this province so much, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be the best.
Have you asked to play Sunday?
Are we wearing green right now? Like, yeah, of course now. I'm just trying to get back in the playbook. We'll see what happens, though. Like short notice like that is going to be definitely difficult. But hey, I'm not going to stop asking now.
He just got here yesterday, man. So I know he's been trying to chomp at the bit with Mules and Quay, trying to get things down. But it's still, even though it was relatively fresh, it's still a transition, man. So, but obviously in the near future, yeah.
12 games last year, Joe had 20 catches for 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Canada West football season kicks off tonight with the defending champs U of R Rams traveling to Calgary to take on the Dinos. Rams coming off just their second Hardy Cup win, beating the Huskies last season. Rams without several starters from last year, including receiver Deshaun Mims, who's now with the Riders. Game did started, haven't checked the score yet. Also, the U of S Huskies open up the season in Edmonton against the U of A Golden Bears. Huskies offense has a lot of their starters back, including Rider draft pick receiver Daniel Weeb. That game just kicked off in Edmonton. Coming up, Chinese tariffs are also hurting the crab industry in BC.
Let's take a look at what your rural forecast is looking like heading into tomorrow. Now, because we do have a system coming in from the southwest that's tracking heading into the northwest, we're going to see some cooler temperatures, cooler than 30 degrees, but we're still seeing above seasonal temperatures for the province. 33 over in Hudson Bay, sunshine expected throughout the day there. 31 for Melfort and Watrous, 30 for Wynyard, and then Kindersley, as we were seeing on the map there, expecting some rain tomorrow. 25 degrees is the expected daytime high. Clouds for Lloydminster, 24 degrees, and then 28 for Meadow Lake, Spiritwood, and for Outlook. And then the closer we get to the southern border, again, same story for the southwest. Some cooler areas, East End Cypress, 22 tomorrow. 25 for Maple Creek and for Leader. But then over in the southeast, 30 for Carlisle and for Pilot Butte and Lumsden, 31 for Broadview, and Kenora expecting to get up to 32 degrees with nothing but sunshine. But if we take a closer look at Kenosee Lake, a perfect day to get out to the lake. Also, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. 28 degrees is the expected high, mainly sunny conditions. Even the wind's not too bad, anywhere from 15 to 20 kilometers an hour.
Crab fishermen in BC are watching their profits shrink as China's tariffs rip through the industry. Now, as they work to fill the gap, they're calling on Ottawa to step in and keep them afloat. CTV's Craig Krause reports.
It's been months since BC fishermen received crushing news.
China is also set to hit Canada with hefty levies next week, crushing fishermen and farmers across BC.
Crab fishermen specifically relying on the Chinese market for 90% of their exports, now watching as their industry sinks.
Nobody wants to go to work and lose money, right?
Second-generation fisherman Jason Vong says he was fetching around $11.50 per pound of crab last summer. That number now just $7.
All our profits are been taken away.
And according to the BC Crab Fishermen's Association, national export data shows in June that Dungeness crab exports to China were down nearly 60%. Revenue that month compared to last year, that was slashed to under $5 million, placing financial stress on harvesters, families, and communities along BC's coastline.
We'd like to see the tariffs removed and resume back to normal business.
The association issuing a letter to the fisheries minister for support after repeated calls. In a statement to CTV News, the federal government wrote it understands the challenges and is working to reduce the impacts, adding, quote, Canada remains open to continuing pragmatic, constructive dialogue with China to address Canada's interest in fully restoring market access. A geopolitical battle that one expert says is a result of Canadian tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles last year.
Do you see a resolution on the horizon?
Well, we have seen calls for Canada to step back from those tariffs on Chinese EVs. Scott Moe, Premier of Saskatchewan, for instance. I think we are going to have to look for ways to build out trading relationships wherever we can.
In the meantime, fishermen are hoping policy changes will be made soon. If not, the appetite will need to grow elsewhere for crab. Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Markets in different directions. The TSX up 129 points. The Dow Jones down 92 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it went up a little more than 1/10 of a cent to 72.82 cents U.S. Commodities, gold up $30.86. West Texas Intermediate crude down 59 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude was up 48 cents. And gas in Regina has not moved. It is sitting at $1.46.9 per liter.
Statistics Canada says the Canadian economy contracted 1.6% in the second quarter of this year. It's the worst decline for the country since the COVID-19 pandemic, primarily due to U.S. tariffs, which slashed exports by 7.5%. Exports in key sectors like energy and automotive dropped significantly, widening the trade deficit. And the former Trans Mountain CEO, Don Farrell, has now been named CEO of the Liberal government's major projects office. Prime Minister Mark Carney made that announcement today. Farrell is currently chair of the board of directors for the Trans Mountain Corporation. Laurentian Bank shares have fallen sharply today after reporting mixed results in its latest quarter. The bank reported a $37.5 million profit, which beat estimates, but the lender also saw revenue decline compared to the year before. Those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Tonight, after the cast, Celebrity Jeopardy, followed by Fear Thy Neighbor, not once, but twice. I'm not going to tell you about Big Bang Theory. You know it's there. Passengers on a whale watching tour in California got a very special treat.
A stampede of more than 100 dolphins was spotted racing alongside their whale-watching vessel just off the coastline from Newport Beach. Some of the dolphins launched themselves more than 10 feet into the air. Passengers say they were absolutely thrilled by the energetic display. I did not know they were called a stampede.
No, but, I mean...
That's fun.
Now we know dolphins are all look-at-me type animals.
It's Friday. All right. Well, it seems humans are not the only ones eager to espresso their excitement for coffee.
Yeah, so a skunk in London, Ontario found itself a bit of a sticky situation. Its head stuck inside a discarded coffee cup, which is why you don't do that. You put it in the garbage. Resident Brianne Cloutier said she didn't hesitate to approach the little creature, even though she was at risk of getting sprayed. She worked to free the skunk, and the cup finally cracked off. From coffee cups to close calls to rescue, a reminder that kindness does go a long way, and keep those lids on tight if you have that.
That's a good Samaritan right there. That is also a risk. A skunk?
Yeah. You don't want to get sprayed. Labor Day Classic on Sunday. If you're going, it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
It's going to be a warm one. So if you're not going, enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, you're going to have some great weather for it.
Like she said.